I still expect a little bit more weakness, but I am a mid to long-term bull. I think, again, the more I see what's going on with the government and the kind of catastrophic spending that shows literally no side wants to get control of it at this point. And then you look at what the Fed is about to do in terms of lowering interest rates. I do think eventually more and more people adopt the idea that Bitcoin is that digital source of safety. Now, it's not right now, but one of the positives about Bitcoin is that the volatility has gone down dramatically. Now, if you're a investor who likes seeing 30% moves in a week, you're not so happy. But if you're someone who looks for a asset like gold, but maybe in digital form, I do think this brings up a great opportunity for a kind of a longer term play.
Now, guess who keeps his eye on us? The author of best-selling book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. And we want to take this opportunity and thank all the people who trusted us, and we read every comment. And the best part, it's free. Subscribing now means you will get all new information for free. Don't just follow the trends, stay ahead of them. Subscribe to Bitcoin Zella today and enjoy the new edge. Let's join Gareth in this video about Bitcoin and more.
Now, again, my only concern here is that we clearly see the stock market have still an influence on Bitcoin, meaning that if we still see this correction that I do see coming in the stock market, then Bitcoin probably goes down, at least in the short term. I do have a big level at 50,000 right here. This is the former spot ETF approval high, major technical support, downsloping trend line kind of right here. So I think I would start accumulating there, but I have to also be fully aware that if we do get into a full-fledged recession and the Fed does cut rates. Now, by the way, just to interject here, everyone says, oh, when the Fed cuts rates, the markets will go higher. Actually, historically, it's the opposite. When the Fed starts cutting, actually, is when the markets start going lower. So just be aware that if the stock market does roll over 10, 15, 20%, we're likely headed to 50 and maybe even down lower than that. So the basics, just to summarize, I'm a buyer on weakness of Bitcoin because I'm a long-term bull, but I do expect it to get weaker and give me those buying opportunities.
If the Fed cuts rates into a weak economy, that could be bearish for the for the stock markets. But
right,
let's just for the sake of argument, assume there's a soft landing and nothing happens and they still cut rates. Would that still be bad for stocks?
So my guess is if we have a soft landing, the only thing you get is one or two cuts, and the market will eventually not like that per valuation metrics. I mean, I think the market's already factoring in excessive cuts at this point. And also, again, I would just bring up the former data we looked at in terms of delinquencies, in terms of hardship loans from 401ks or borrowing from 401ks, is that to me, it clearly shows that probably the one thing keeping the economy afloat right now is the stock market. And I do worry that once that has any sort of even a 10% correction, I think a lot of people would pull back on their spending that have exposure to the stock market because they get worried.
A dormant Bitcoin wallet, inactive for 13 years, has been reactivated, containing millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin. This event adds to recent trends of increased activity among Bitcoin whales and significant transactions by the German and U.S. governments. A Bitcoin wallet, dormant since 2011, has been reactivated, containing 33 BTC, equivalent to $2,142,474. This wallet, linked to the era of Bitcoin's mysterious creator, Satoshi Nakamoto, was flagged by Whale Alert. Recently, a dormant whale moved 8,000 BTC to Binance, valued at over $500 million. This wallet had been inactive for 5.5 years. Additionally, another whale transferred 1,800 BTC to Binance, just before Bitcoin's price dipped from $63,800 to $63,000. The German and U.S. governments have been actively selling Bitcoin and Ethereum. The U.S. government transferred 3,375 Ethereum, worth $11.75 million, to a newly created wallet. Simultaneously, the German government moved 1,500 BTC, valued at $94.7 million, with 400 BTC sent to exchanges like Bitstamp, Kraken, and Coinbase. The U.S. government confiscated Ethereum from Estonian crypto entrepreneurs Potapenko and Turogin, who were recently extradited to the U.S. for crypto fraud and money laundering. After recent transactions, the German government still holds 44,692 BTC, worth $2.81 billion.
In terms of timing then, are you tactically long for now? Like, would you stay, let's say, riding the momentum for now until you see even more signs the economy is turning south?
So for me, I'm a leader in terms of I want to get in front of a move. So I've already shorted the NASDAQ. Like I said, I do have some longs, a little Baidu, a little Zoom, a little, there are pockets where I want to be diversified and have some long exposure. But I do want to just mention here, this is the chart of the NASDAQ 100. And look at this channel. This is again, just like we're looking at, remember we were just looking at a chart of the dollar yen had a channel. Channels are really powerful and they're not used in technical analysis often, but they work. And here's the low from 2020 connected to the low of the recession or the bear market in 2022. And if we stretch a parallel up to this high, the high from the bull market of 2021, we actually just tagged this high here. And to me, that would insinuate some sort of drop. Now, is it a small drop of 3 to 5%? We don't know. But ultimately, I would expect a pullback here. And in addition, the daily chart put in a topping tail last Friday. Topping tails are bearish reversal signals. So it's another signal that could tell us we're on the verge of a pullback. Last thing I'll mention, David, is that the last time we corrected here, this little correction going back to April, it was when, and this is kind of wild, it was when we saw a blackout period for companies just ahead of earnings where they couldn't buy their own stock back. And so here we are, literally we just entered a period now where we're in this blackout period. About 50+% of the S&P is now in a blackout period. They can't do share buybacks. And again, notice the coordination here. When companies don't buy their stock back, the stock market doesn't do so well. And it's another reason we could see at least a 3 to 5% correction. Then we'll have to see if it expands into more.
If NVIDIA corrects by even 50%, not even 70%, wouldn't that take down the rest of the market?
Oh, 100%, 100%. I mean, it's taken the market up. And by the way, just so everyone's aware here, I just want to show the thesis behind it. So now listen, you could argue that AI is different than the internet bubble. You could argue it that, there's always different narratives. But what I want to show you here is on Tesla. If you go back to the Tesla highs in 2021, what did we do here? Let's do a measurement. So if we look at the decline, we saw a 75% decline in Tesla before it stabilized off of that bubble high. Now you could say, okay, well, that's just Tesla. Okay, well, let's go to Cisco Systems and let's go to the monthly Cisco Systems chart and let's go back here to the chart here of Cisco in the .com era. What did it drop? Let's do a quick drop down here. Basically, you dropped about 85%. Okay, well, that's just one more. Let's go to First Solar. Let's go to the First Solar bubble in 2007 here. What did it drop? 74%, right? So there's this coordination where tends to see these type of corrections when something gets out of favor. Now, do I think that NVIDIA at a 75% discount is a great buy? Yeah, I actually do. Because what happens is at highs, things get overdone because of greed, and then fear takes over at the lows, and they probably shouldn't be down that much. So they'll be buying opportunities. But remember, this doesn't happen overnight either. And I think this is important. A lot of people, they watch these, they're like, oh, Gareth's predicting like in the next month. No, not at all. It literally will take a year to year and a half. It's about an 18-month cycle. If you look from the high here on the monthly to the low, you're probably talking about 12 to 18 months. But I do think once you start that correction, you'll see NVIDIA correct sizably.
Let's finish off with gold then. Gold and the dollar. Let's do gold and the dollar. They're, kind of linked. The gold price has been, again, trading range bound, just like Bitcoin, but obviously different magnitude. So what's your take there on this trading pattern?
Yeah, so the pattern itself right now is favoring the downside in the short term, but continues to be consolidation in the long term. So I talked about this in December with you. We talked about a gold breakout. It happened, beautiful move to 2,400 and change. But now you're in this what we would call consolidation period, and essentially what we've had is this is a topping tail. We pulled back, we pierced it, never closed above. I expect us to eventually break this 2280 level and at least come down to about 2190. 2190 starts to get interesting, I think, as a buying opportunity, but I do expect a little bit of weakness before the next leg takes us probably to 2,800, maybe even $3,000 an ounce. So I continue to be hugely bullish long-term because I think, again, the fiscal issues facing this country and facing the world are a nightmare that isn't going to be easily fixed, and gold is one of the answers, and eventually Bitcoin will be the other answer.
Fred Krueger, a noted Bitcoin advocate, predicts that Bitcoin's price could double by the end of the year. This optimistic outlook comes as Bitcoin aims to regain bullish momentum despite recent challenges. Fred Krueger's bold prediction suggests Bitcoin could see its price double by the end of 2024. He dismisses any turtle nonsense, indicating strong confidence in a swift price increase. Kaidong Ju, CEO of CryptoQuant, asserts that Bitcoin is still in a bull market despite multiple failed attempts to break the $68,000 barrier. Mike Novogratz of Galaxy Digital also predicts that Bitcoin could top $100,000 this year, provided it reclaims the pivotal $73,000 level. The Bitcoin network is expected to undergo a significant difficulty drop of around 6%, the largest since December 2022. Such adjustments have historically signaled market bottoms, suggesting a possible trend reversal amid minor capitulation following the halving event. If you've been with us so far, a big thank you. Don't forget to subscribe for free to Bitcoin Zella for your daily news. The link is waiting below. That's all for today's crypto news. Stick around for more updates, insights, and analysis on cryptocurrencies. Share your thoughts in the comments, like this video, and subscribe for more exciting content.